Father and daughter kicked off Frontier Airlines flight. A man and his daughter are claiming they were wrongly kicked off a Frontier Airlines flight in Orlando last week. Whitney Miller and her father Eric Miller were lucky enough to experience an 8-hour delay, so naturally they weren't in the best mood. Miller and her dad were talking about how miserable the flight crew looked and about how they would never fly Frontier again. Apparently, a flight attendant was eavesdropping in on their private conversation, and after hearing what they had to say, ran off to tell the other flight crew that she felt threatened. And you'll never guess what happened next. Frontier kicked 25-year-old Whitney and her 70-year-old father off the plane. The Millers said they will drive now instead of fly, while Frontier has refunded their tickets. Ah, the friendly skies. Which U.S. airline is the worst? Darn, that's a hard question. Delta is pushing United hard in the bad publicity stakes.
So my kid, so my wife, we're going to be in jail and my kids are going to be what?
It's a federal offense if you don't abide by.
Another day, another airline controversy. This time it's Delta in the spotlight for kicking passengers off an oversold flight. Only now it's an entire family with young kids getting booted off and threatened with jail if they don't comply. This video was filmed on April 23rd aboard Delta Airlines Flight 2222 from Hawaii to Los Angeles. It was posted to YouTube on Wednesday by Dad Brian Shear from Huntington Beach, California. Shear's wife Brittany started filming when airline staff asked the family to give up a seat they had paid for to make space for another passenger. The couple was traveling with 2 toddlers. The seat was occupied by the couple's 2-year-old son. For safety reasons, they planned to strap him into a car seat placed on top of it. But the airline insisted Brian hold the boy in his lap.
Because he's 2 and under?
Okay, I got a solution. He can sit in her lap.
Right.
Okay, and then we can take off, and then we can put him back in the car seat. That's what the FAA rules are.
No,
the bottom line
with him being, no they're not. We're pulling him up right now. With him being 2, he cannot sit.
To make matters worse, airline staff said the child could not occupy a seat during the flight because it was against Federal Aviation Administration rules. Which is horseshit. In fact, the FAA recommends the toddlers sit in government-approved car seats for safety purposes. And so does Delta's own website. Oh, and never mind the kid was in the car seat when the Shears flew out to Hawaii in the first place. The issue that Delta used to trip the family up in the end was that the seat was originally booked in the name of Brian's 18-year-old son. But the teen flew back on an earlier flight so his brother would have a seat. The thinking being that otherwise the kid would not sleep on the 5-hour-long red-eye, and it would compromise safety with him crawling all over his parents' laps. But technically, tickets on Delta flights are non-transferable. Eventually, the family accepted that they couldn't win and asked if they could give up the seat and get in the air. Nuh-uh.
Going to have you guys all off the flight, or we're going to retrain the whole aircraft and see what
So we're getting kicked off this plane no matter what now.
Instead, Delta threatened the family with jail if they didn't all get off the flight. They were told that not having anywhere to stay was not Delta's problem, and the family was on their own. So at around midnight, the Shears had to scramble around for a hotel. They then spent around $2,000 on a new flight leaving the next day. And as if things couldn't get any worse, that flight was with United. On Thursday, Delta apologized and said they'd contacted the family to offer them a refund and additional compensation. Guess Delta just wasn't happy with United getting all the limelight.
Honeymooners save plane with fuel leakage but get left stranded. A newly married couple flying to Italy for their honeymoon cruise were thrown off course before they could leave the ground when they saw an unusual sight out of their cabin window. Which airline were they flying? United, of course. On June 14th, Mike and Rachel Brumfield boarded their flight in Newark, New Jersey, but when they got to their seats, they spotted fluid pouring out of the plane's left wing. As it turns out, what they saw draining out was jet fuel. Somehow, not one member of the flight crew happened to notice the issue before takeoff, and had the couple not spoken up, the plane might have crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. For their critical observation, you'd think United Airlines would come up with a special gesture to show gratitude, right? Wrong. The newlyweds say they learned their flight was canceled and all the passengers received hotel vouchers for the night, except them. Furthermore, they say United employees were super rude to them and had no idea where their luggage was. They were forced to sleep on the floor of the airport and rushed to arrange a flight at another airport to make it to Venice on time for their honeymoon cruise. When reached for comment, United Airlines declined to address the couple's claims, only offering a general statement regarding the flight cancellation. Classy.
Big Bunny dies after United Airlines flight. United Airlines is facing more PR problems after this humongous rabbit died while traveling with the airline from England to the US. The 10-month-old, 3-foot-long continental giant rabbit called Simon was expected to grow up to become the biggest bunny in the world. But owner Annette Edwards is now demanding compensation from United and the return of the rabbit's corpse to the UK for an autopsy. United insists Simon was alive and hopping when he was taken off the flight in Chicago on April 19th, and there was definitely no need to ask, "Hey, what's up, Doc?" An airline spokesman said the giant rabbit appeared healthy and showed no signs of distress upon landing. Simon went to sleep in a pet facility run by the airline, but 30 minutes later, an employee opened his cage and found the rabbit dead. The spokesman said the airline had offered to perform a necropsy on the rabbit, free of charge, but Edwards declined. Rabbit breeder Edwards said Simon was expected to grow to be the world's biggest bunny, after his father Darius grew to a length of 4 feet 4 inches. Edwards said Simon had a veterinary checkup just 3 hours before takeoff from London's Heathrow Airport and was as fit as a fiddle. United said they have offered compensation to Simon's buyer in the States. The airline said it was saddened to hear of the giant bunny's death and was investigating the incident.